Welcome to this episode of the Sports Detective Podcast Show. My name is James Williams, and today we discuss if LeBron James has finally caught Michael Jordan in the NBA GOAT debate. Why are we talking about this? Well, The Athletic has been doing this anonymous player survey where they interview over 100 different players anonymously. They give them a survey, and basically they fill out a bunch of different questions, things such as who is the most overrated player in the NBA, who is the most underrated player in the NBA, who's the best defender in the NBA. Other questions include like which coach would you want to play for, which coach would you not want to play for, and they also ask who is the greatest player of all time. And this poll I kind of saw kind of shocked me. I'll go ahead and show you guys this poll. This is from this year, 2024. Who is the greatest player of all time? As you can see here, Michael Jordan still in the lead with 45.9% of the votes, but LeBron James very, very close behind with 42.1% of the votes. Kobe Bryant in third place, 9.8% of the votes. Steph Curry, Magic Johnson, and oddly, Paul Pierce also receiving votes. So I saw that poll there, and this is kind of what I thought, because basically, if you talk about the GOAT debate, most people, when it comes to this discussion, have had their mind made up for a while. And there isn't necessarily any kind of like switching people's mind on this or convincing people to go to a different side. So that is part of the reason I don't necessarily like to talk about it all the time. I am of the opinion, and getting back to this poll here in a second, I'm of the opinion, in my personal opinion, is I was born in 1996. I was 2 years old when Michael Jordan won his sixth championship. I never got to see the dude play. I have gone back and watched old, games of his through the NBA.com. If you have the NBA League Pass, you can go. Or at least I did it a few years ago, where you could go back and watch some of those finals games that he played in. I remember seeing the 6 3-point game that he played, and he is a very impressive basketball player. So I do have my respect for Michael Jordan, but I'm still gonna ride with LeBron James. And getting back to this poll, that's kind of what I assumed just reading that poll, is that most of the players in the league now are probably younger than me, or I'd say a good percentage of them. So it would make sense that a lot of people that didn't see Michael Jordan play would just be like, oh yeah, LeBron James, we'll vote for him. But I'll go ahead and show you guys two other polls that the two other times the Athletic did polls on this vote here. The first one I'll show you is 2019. This is from the year that this poll was taken from the Athletic. Same thing, 117 votes. 73% Michael Jordan, 11.9% LeBron James. Kobe Bryant, very close behind LeBron with 10.6. Kareem got 1.7. And then we have Magic, Allen Iverson, and Kevin Durant with 1%. Okay, so that was 2019. Remember, that was before LeBron won his fourth title. I think he might have been fifth all-time scoring. He might not even passed Jordan yet in all-time scoring at this point. So transition to just last year, 2023, when they did this vote. Michael Jordan receiving 58.3% of the votes. LeBron James catching up a little bit here, 33% of the votes. Kobe was 6.8. Bill Russell, and oddly enough, Tracy McGrady also receiving votes. So the reason I point those out here too is if you look at just from 1 year, the gap in percentage-wise between LeBron and MJ was 25% to 4%. So LeBron made up like a 21% gap basically in 1 year's time. He was the all-time leading scoring leader last year when that poll was taken. This year, the only thing that's really different is he got another All-Star appearance. He's going to get another All-NBA appearance, and he reached the 40,000 point barrier. So I was kind of, if you go ahead and read that Athletic article, they have quotes from the players that did these votes, and basically they kind of gave the reasoning for these votes. And there was one person that was like, well, if you're just looking at them as basketball players and you look at all the things that LeBron can do on the court, where he can play all 5 different positions, he can guard all 5 different positions, just the versatility of him as a basketball player, that's why. But most of the quotes, if you go and read that article, are basically making the point that, like, hey, this longevity thing with LeBron James, it is something that is unrivaled and unmatched. And it is something that we haven't seen before, we might not see again. And that is basically the crux of the GOAT debate. And that is what this GOAT debate is going to end up turning into as we are getting towards the twilight of LeBron James's career. I'm going to go ahead and now again, if you're a person that has entertained this debate before, I've watched quite a bit of debates on this before. I know I'm not going to change anyone's mind. I'm not trying to. And I'm not going to point out right here. And again, that's not my point. I'm just pointing out the longevity thing here with LeBron, because you can do the thing with this debate where you can do scoring titles and MVPs and titles and all defense and stuff like that. You can do all of that stuff. But the interesting thing here, and you know that LeBron is thinking about this because LeBron has called himself the GOAT. He's going to keep calling himself the GOAT. And he is building up quite a bit of a case here. So I wanted to point this out here. So LeBron James, as you guys know, this is year 21 for him. He, by all indications, after the season, he is going to sign a 3-year extension. We don't know where. It's probably going to be with the Lakers again, but he's probably going to sign a 3-year extension. So he's going to be playing for, at a bare minimum, right now we can surmise that he's going to be playing at least 24 years in the NBA. So if you look at his points, total points right now, because we know he's the all-time scoring. If you just say over the next few years, if he gets 1,500 points a season, which isn't crazy. I think he got like a little bit over 1,600 points this year, if my memory is not mistaken. If you add that up, he might not be just the first person and only person to get to 40,000 points for a career. He might be the only person to get to 45,000 points for his career. There's a good chance that Michael Jordan, I believe, is 5th right now, all-time scoring leader in the NBA. There's a good chance that LeBron will score 12,000 more points than him in his entire career. 12,000 more points than Michael Jordan his entire career. Maybe even 10,000 more than Kobe Bryant. That is absolutely insane. If you look at, again, I know he's already the all-time leader in all-star appearances. I think he's going to be the all-time leader in all NBAs if he's not there already. If you look at that he's going to have basically 24, right now he's 21, if not 24, like high-quality years. Comparing that to Michael Jordan's career. So Michael Jordan played 15 seasons. If you take out those 2 Washington seasons, let's just do that for the sake of this argument. He's got 13 Chicago Bulls seasons. Okay, if you look at those Chicago Bulls seasons, he had one season early in his career where he broke his foot, didn't play that much that year. And then he also had a season where he came back from baseball and only played like the tail end of that year. So he basically had like 11 full seasons, which again were amazing, by the way. Michael Jordan was, it's kind of jaw-dropping to just go back to even look at some of that stuff. The 5 MVPs, he definitely had some that he should have gotten. I think I remember one notably, I think it was 97 that Karl Malone won that MJ probably should have won. That's one that people would probably want to do over again. But if you just look at those 11 years for Michael Jordan, LeBron is, again, this is going to be his argument. This is going to be the LeBron people's argument in this camp when they are making the argument of LeBron over MJ. LeBron basically had double the career MJ had for a longevity standpoint. And again, it's to each their own. It's, whoever, whatever is your cup of tea when it comes to this stuff. Are you going to go with the MVPs with MJ, the rings with MJ, or are you going to go with the just basically 2+ decades, not just 2 decades, 2+ decades of being a top 15, top 10, half of that time being the best player in the league? Is what LeBron James has, where he's basically have double the prime that Michael Jordan had. Again, even if you wanted to dive into it deeper, you can maybe even say triple, depending on how long he goes here. So that is going to be the argument. Another stat here too with LeBron. Right now, he's currently 4th all-time in assists. Again, we're saying at least 3 years left. He's either going to finish 2nd or 3rd all-time in assists. Now, that depends how much longer Chris Paul plays, because Chris Paul is currently 3rd. We think he's going to play again next year. He'll probably pass Jason Kidd if that is the case there. So it depends. If Chris Paul plays another 3 years, LeBron's probably not going to catch him. But there's a chance that LeBron could be 1st all-time in points by a wide margin and then also be 2nd all-time in assists. That is a real possibility here with LeBron. I know he's also really high up on steals. I don't think he'll ever get to like the top 2 in steals. I definitely don't think he'll get to number 1, but he is also, I believe, top 10 right now in steals. Not to mention, guys, all of the playoff stuff that he's already accoladed that he's been number one in several of those categories for so long. It's that stuff is probably just going to keep piling on, because even if he's not making any more finals runs, he's probably still going to be in the playoffs at least. I'd say after the season, I'd say at least one more time. If you put the over under 1.5 more playoff appearances for LeBron after the season. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to point out those numbers here, because it is pretty staggering. And this is going to become, if it's not already been, one of the most interesting GOAT debates that we've ever had in sports, because I don't know what the baseball one is anymore, because the steroids thing kind of changes that whole thing up. And then you have how do you really grade Babe Ruth? How do you grade, uh, the different types of like bats and balls, that, the different type of ballparks. I don't know how you grade all of that stuff. Golf's kind of weird with Tiger and Jack. Kind of like the same thing there with that. That I guess that's another good one if you wanted to have that one, but I don't know if as many people care about that one. Brady kind of squashed the whole thing in football when it comes to that. So again, the most interesting GOAT debate definitely became more interesting, and it's going to keep becoming interesting if LeBron keeps piling on stats and stats and stats, because again, it's going to turn into, do you care more about the stats and just the accumulation of that and the impressiveness of just being able to be a top 10 player basically for 2 decades straight? Or do you take like basically the 6 years, the 6 rings of dominance in that stretch from MJ? So to each their own. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Again, I not trying to convince anyone's mind here, basically just trying to lay out the LeBron argument, because I was always, the reason I really don't like even talking about it is I assume that I'm kind of on an island, not on an island, but a smaller island when it comes to this stuff, where most people do think it is Michael Jordan. But again, like I said at the beginning, I'm LeBron's my favorite player of all time. He's the guy I've been watching for 2 decades at this point. Never got to watch Michael Jordan, so that's why I will side with LeBron in this debate. Again, not saying I'm right or wrong. That's just where I side on it. So again, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Were you ever swayed in this debate? Was there ever a time where you're like, hey, I was Michael Jordan, but hey, got to give it up to him. Just a long career for LeBron. I have to do that. Even if you're a Kobe person, you want to make your argument in the comments on that, go ahead, knock yourself out. Just let me know what you think in the comments. Would love to know what everyone thinks about this, because I do think it is very fascinating. If you like this video and you're still watching this point, please give me a like. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us out in the algorithm. If we get more likes, more subscriptions, more comments in there. So thank you very much for watching. This is a Sports Detective Podcast show. Maybe explore our channel a little bit. Maybe you'll find some other videos you like. I'll talk to you next time.